Hello. We are back for Traitors Season 4 Episode 3 recap and review. And we are just going to get started because my last review was longer than the episode itself. So I can't have that, okay? So we open up the episode with everyone arriving for breakfast. We see Jam Jam, Caroline, and Colton arrive. And they get to discussing who they think is a traitor. Essentially, they're convinced that Ron is a traitor. And their idea is that Portia was basically being used as Ron's target to protect him. So it was like traitors protecting traitors. AKA they're thinking Michael and Ron were the main traitor targets, but they used Portia as a decoy to get her banished instead. Very interesting. And obviously we know they're not traitors, but they are behaving very traitorously. So I could see where that thinking comes from. Some more people join the group at the breakfast table. We see Candace, Donna, and Dorinda join the table. And we get a hilarious confessional of Candace. She's like talking about how she's so nervous because she does not know who was murdered. Then she mentions that Rob C. last night comes up to her and is like, "Hey girl, I think they're gonna be doing murder in plain sight." And she's like, "Bitch, how are you telling me what the fuck I'm doing?" I screamed. That was so funny. So, yeah, she's basically unsure of who's getting killed. Then we see Donna in a confessional saying she basically made it in by the hair of her chin. And not for long, Donna. You made it by the hair of your chin this time, but not for long. Then we get Michael in a confessional, and he's talking about how he's upset that Portia's gone because she actually was a faithful. And it's like, well, if you're upset that she's gone, maybe you shouldn't have gone so hard for her as a traitor. But then he mentions that Jam Jam is back on his radar because you don't deflect, defend, and project if you're not a traitor. Which, does that make sense? No. If you get accused of being a traitor, whether you're a traitor or a faithful, you're gonna defend yourself. If you don't, people are gonna think, if you don't defend yourself, people will think you're a traitor. Michael, like, are you dumb? Have you ever seen the show? No. So the rest of the group shows up to breakfast. We see Maura has a cute little like bob wig on. It's got like a little curls, very cute. She's got a nice little hat. And then we see that Rob C has been murdered. And like, thank God, because this man figured out there was a murder in plain sight before the murder in plain sight even happened. Like, he was getting far too close for comfort for me. So yeah, I'm glad he's dead. But I also want to mention, people are talking about how Rob C was like gonna be the best gamer. Like, he's so smart and good at the game. But if you were smart and good at the game, you wouldn't be running your mouth talking about, there's gonna be a murder in plain sight, there's gonna be a murder in plain sight, there's gonna be a murder in plain sight, traitors, there's gonna be a murder in plain sight. Like, you are putting far too much of a target on your back to be a good game player. So maybe it's a good thing he was gone. Maybe he didn't deserve to be here because he just blew up his chances. We then see a quick flashback to last night where we see Rob and Rinna again playing fake chess with like Rob C walking in. And they just do a little like quick chat with him. He walks out, and then Rob R grabs a little chess piece and he's like, "I'm saying Rob C." Rinna's like, "I'm good with that." And they're like, "Okay, great. We figured it out. That's who we're gonna murder. Let's burn the card." So yeah, Rob R mentions that like the longer Rob sees in the game, the greater chance that the traitors will be discovered by him. And agree. I mean, obviously he wasn't, I think he would have figured out, even though he was playing like a kind of bad faithful game, I do think he was probably smart enough to figure out who the traitors were. He just wasn't smart enough to keep himself alive. You know what I mean? Right. So Rob R also mentions that Michael last night voted Rob C at the table, And so it also inadvertently fuels that flame that Michael's a traitor. Again, good thinking. We love that. We then see Rob C in the reading room, open the door, see his little letter, and he's like, damn, what happened? I knew this was going to happen. And he opens up the letter and he reads it, and it says, Rob C, you were murdered in plain sight. And he's like, oh, he's so mad. He's like, no. He's like, I didn't take anything. I didn't kiss anybody. I didn't hug anybody. I didn't drink anything. I didn't eat anything. I didn't look at anybody. So he was very upset about that. It's like, I don't know how they got me. It's like, they picked you. They didn't have to do, but, you know, obviously how is he gonna know that? Candace is like, thank the Lord Rob C was murdered, because he was also getting too close for comfort for her. After Candace realizes he is murdered, Candace then decides to make a toast to him. She says, let's raise a glass to Rob C. And I don't think she should have done that. I don't think she should have done that. Especially because, like, is Rob C your friend? Have you ever met this man? Have you ever talked to him? It's a little bit like, you don't need to draw this attention to yourself. I don't think anyone else was compelled to make a toast for him, especially not Tiffany, who was friends with him. So I don't really think Candace should have done that. I think I was watching and regret watching her do that. But nonetheless, Jim then mentions that he said that the Traitors are going after all these gamers. And Michael comes in again talking about, okay, so when Rob C was on Survivor, did he like lie? Did he have to lie in the game? And people are like, well, yeah. And so he's like, do you have to lie and cheat to win the game of Survivor? And people are like, well, I mean, kind of. And Michael whips his head around and he's like, oh, so I didn't know that a traitor could get a shield. And it's like, Michael, first of all, I thought you said you studied this show. If you studied the show, if you ever actually watched the show, you would know that traitors get shields all the time. It's actually like a traitor strategy, like, duh. But also, like, can you just stop picking fights? It's like you just want to be the big bully on the playground. It's really frustrating. Anyway, Jam is like, I can't. He's like, he's in disbelief. Like, he's like, am I being targeted? And so he's like, this is the fourth time you brought this up, dude. Like, I need you to maybe get something else to talk about. Rappy's just like sitting there yelling at him again and again and again. And Jam says, if you're going to talk to me at a level 100, I'm going to talk to you at a level 100. And if you talk to me at a level 10, I'm going to talk to you at level 10. But he's basically just putting him in his place. Like, you don't have a right to yell at me and talk to me this disrespectfully just because you think I'm a traitor. Like, that's not how we're going to do this. And so Michael is like seething. He hates that he just got reprimanded. And so he goes, don't think you're going to reprimand me. And Jam's like, I'm just giving you game talk. And Rappy's like, oh, because you're a gamer? Because you play games? I don't play games. And you see Ron sitting next to him in this like adorable striped rainbow mohair sweater. And Ron is like, do you know you're playing a game right now? Do you know that Traitors is a game? Like, everyone's like, are you stupid? You're playing a game right now. And so this is where Rappy just like, I don't even know how he comes up with this stuff. I would be embarrassed to say these words. I am embarrassed to recite these words that he said. However, Rappy says, I'm straight up faithful. I'm a faithful, and I think you're full of doo-doo. Big, thick, traitor doo-doo. disgusting. Disgusting. Like, it's so, that was just like a disgusting sentence. Like, what? Ugh. I don't even want to, like, no. And then, like, I was shocked. Everyone was stunned. People were like, what the fuck did you just say? Who says traitor doo-doo? Like, what? Then he goes on to say, look, I'm not trying to offend anyone. It's like, you have been quite literally bullying Jam Jam since he got on the show, since you guys showed up at the castle 2 days ago. So then we see Alan arrive. He's a phoenix risen from the ashes, and he has this like orange hair and an orange outfit. It's not quite a suit, but it's a fiery, it's meant to resemble a phoenix risen from the ashes. Okay. So then Alan is like, oh, we see that Rob C got burned last night. And Rinna's like, oh, I don't think anyone realizes there was, in fact, a murder in plain sight because Alan's giving these clues, but it doesn't seem like people are picking up on it. So then Alan says, today there will be a round table before the mission. Wow, shocking. Whoa, never been done before. I don't know what compelled them to do this. Maybe because they're going to get left out in the woods later tonight and they don't. Actually, yeah, they did it because after the mission, whoever, I'm jumping ahead. Basically, you lose in the mission, you get tied to a tree for the rest of the night. So if you get tied to a tree for the rest of the night, you're not coming back for the round table. So it actually does make sense that the round table was before. Anyway, so after Alan describes that the round table will be today, we see people kind of disperse, do their strategy talk once again, and we see Tiffany and Michael in the bar looking for the secret alcove behind the bookcase. And so Michael, once again, claiming to see the show, has no idea how to open this bookcase. And Tiffany's like, okay, you gotta pull the book and push it in. That's how you open it. Okay, so he does that. They sneak in to the closet behind the bookcase. And then we immediately see a few other people come in to the bar. So it's a little suspense, right? Basically, Tiffany explains in her confessional that she thinks Michael is a traitor, but she does want to keep him on her good side so that he thinks he's safe via her from suspicion. And so basically they can be kind of an alliance, a traitor-faithful alliance, where Michael doesn't realize she thinks he's a traitor, right? But to keep her, like, basically she's trying to get herself to the end of the game by protecting Michael because she already knows he's a traitor. And this goes back to, I think, Ian's initial conversation about the faithful strategy being an interesting nut to crack. And I think this is one of the most important aspects of a traitor strategy is as a faithful strategy. As a faithful, you have to go into the game and almost immediately figure out who the traitors are and then tell no one and protect them until the end. That's like kind of the only way you can win as a faithful, I think. Or maybe the easiest, quickest way, the safest way to win as a faithful. But yeah. So we see Tiffany and Michael in the hidden area, the hidden closet. And Tiffany basically says, like, Michael, Jam Jam, I'm with you. Jam Jam could be a traitor, but you need to chill the fuck out. You're doing far too much. And then so then the camera cuts, you see Kristen, Natalie, and Mark on the other side of the bar, like in the actual public area of the bar, having a conversation about how they think Michael is a traitor. And then the funniest fucking thing happens. The camera cuts to just a close-up of Michael's face in this secret closet, like just him sitting in this big chair, and it's just his face, and it's really dark in there, and he looks like the Crypt Keeper's father. He looks so bad. Like, he looks like OG Frankenstein, maybe. I don't know. He look. The editors are shady as fuck for that. So, we hear Mark saying that Michael is either a smokescreen for the Traitors or he's triple bluffing, right? And I think that's what the faithfuls can't figure out, is they can't figure out if he's triple bluffing or is a smokescreen. And I think if he was double bluffing or attempting to do a double bluff, people would not be as suspicious of him, but because he's just being so loudmouth, it's a triple bluff, he is almost a little bit safer because it's so audacious. So then we flash back to Tiffany and Michael in the hidden bookcase closet area. And Tiffany says to Michael, like, the point of the game is not, like, the point of the game is to find the traitors, but it's not necessarily to, like, figure out who you think is a traitor and then scream it from the mountaintops as loud as possible until everyone else votes it. She says, no, the point of the game, Michael, is how do you get other people to vote with you? And, like, again, thank you, Tiffany. Like, someone understands the game, at least. Like there's one right now, as of right now, we know there's one faithful who understands the game, at least. Maybe two, because Natalie also seems to understand the game. I'm not convinced anyone else fully understands the game. But, I mean, I hope Tiffany makes it to the end, because she's the only one who seems to have a cohesive strategy about winning as a faithful. The other faithfuls just seem to want to catch the traitors, which is what you do, but you don't want to get yourself killed in the process. So Tiffany and Michael leave. Michael, like, leaves the bookcase hidden door open. Tiffany's like, can you shut the goddamn door? Are you stupid? Who leaves a hidden door open? Who does that? So, okay, so we then see Colton, Dorinda, and Donna discussing who they think would be a traitor. Colton basically says he's going full steam ahead on going for Donna at the round table. So actually, Colton also knows how to play the game, because he knows how to rally the vote. He knows how to get the people to vote with him, and he's actually doing quite good at that. He also is good at catching a traitor because he figured out it was Donna. So Colton, he might make it to the end as well. Rob R joins in and says, once we get Donna, then we get Ron. You know, like, that's the logical next step, which I think Rob is doing great. Rob is adding just enough to a conversation so that you think he's committed. He's a faithful. He wants to figure out who the traitors are, but he's not at all trying to lead these conversations or, like, being too loud, too boisterous about his opinions, because I think that's what would get him killed. So Rob's doing a great job. I love it. We then get a quick cut of Lisa Rinna. I had to mention this. We get a quick cut of Lisa Rinna, like, walking through the hallway. She, first of all, outfit 8 down. It's like a long red dress, entirely leather. It's got like a drop waist and then like a pleated A-line skirt. And she's wearing, I think, the Balenciaga shark boots with it. And she's got these like tiny little triangle sunglasses on. They're like really small triangular lenses. And she is just, you just see her walking through the hallway like this. She's like, like, it's like, girl, what are you doing? Like, she just popped some pills and is like, I'm feeling good. Now it is time for the round table. Okay? Once again, Candace starts the round table. And I'm rooting for you, Candace, and I would like you to be like a little bit less of a leader at the round table. I need you to be a bit more of a sheep and less of a sheep shepherd. right? Okay. So Candace starts immediately accusing Ron and kind of talking about how you flipped everyone last night. No one was expecting to come and go for Portia. We all kind of had a plan to go for Michael, and you just turned it around. You flipped everyone's ideas, and so that was incredibly traitorous of you. Ron comes back and says that, like, nobody had respect for him. First of all, he says he didn't know there was, like, he wasn't in on the consensus that we were all voting for one. He apparently wasn't in on the consensus. So then he says no one was respecting him or his opinions until he had the ability, and no one thought he had the ability to change minds, like, until he did, aka with Portia last night. So then Colton shifts the focus to Donna. He's convinced still Donna is a traitor. Donna essentially says, like, sorry if I didn't say anything, Colton. I was too busy fangirling over everyone here. And Donna, I don't believe a word coming out your mouth, but, like, good defense. You tried it. We then see Jam Jam say, Donna isn't actually doing anything to take the blame away from herself, which I entirely agree. She has never said, like, you guys, I promise I'm a faithful. She has never said, you guys, I am not a traitor, right? Like, she just kind of says, like, well, it couldn't be me. So Tiffany then calls on Donna and says, like, okay, well, if you were just fangirling, is there someone you are suspecting is a traitor? Like, now that you got the floor, who do you think it is? And she says, I think Michael is a traitor, okay? She says, Michael's pulling the wool over our eyes. He's a great actor. Never seen him act. I highly doubt he's a good actor just because I hate him. But we will keep going. Basically, she also says that, like, Michael, like, monopolizes the round table, which is entirely true. And whether you're a faithful or a traitor, you can't be monopolizing the round table. It's a bad look for you, and it's gonna get you banished. So Michael, it's his turn for his rebuttal. He says, and I quote, I am a faithful, and if I was to get voted out, I'm going to tell you that I am the best looking, smartest, dopest, faithful. This took me out. I nearly fell out the chair. Because smartest? No. You're an idiot. You haven't even figured out the strategy of the game. What's next? Dopest? Who the fuck says dopest in the year 2026? And that you're the best looking? Michael, please, I did not think you were that delusional. I know you are not that delusional to think you are the best looking traitor. You're not even the best looking middle-aged traitor. Like even within your age group, you are not the best looking traitor, faithful person on this show. No way, shape, or form. So Jam Jam says Michael's not accusing anyone of being a traitor, which is incredibly traitorous. And, like, yeah, I'm sure everyone else thinks the same thing. So Michael turns around and says, actually, that's not true. I think you are a traitor. Jam Jam just responds. He says, no, I think you're a traitor. And Michael comes back saying, I'm telling you with my gut, New York City instinct, that of who I think it is. And it's the deflector, the defender, and the projector. And in unison, the entire room goes, that's you, Michael. And he's like, well, I could call your name and go after you. I could call your name, starts pointing at different people. I could go after you. I could go after you. I could go after you. And Colton's like, no, do you realize this is the problem? Like, hello, anyone up there? The problem is that you're only going people who go after you. You're only going for people who go after you. That's what we think is traitorous. Okay? Do you get it? So after this, Michael points right back at Jam Jam. He goes, the Whitney Riled Rose double point. Come on, you're a traitor. Do it with me one time. and he starts singing. He starts singing, "If you're a traitor and you know it, clap your hands. If you're a traitor and you know it, clap your hands." And I was shocked, stunned, jaw on the floor in disbelief, but also just cringing. I was getting so much secondhand embarrassment that the entire round table just had to watch him sing this sad, sad song. And I also wrote down that if I was there at this round table, if I was a traitor, if I was a faithful, I would have clapped. I have a problem where when people start clapping, whether it's on that TV screen right there, whether it's around me, I like have an instinct. I like have a, what's it called? I like inadvertently clap when I hear clapping, or if someone like if the people on the TV show start clapping, sometimes I'll be like, and I'm like, oh fuck, what? I wasn't, no one's, who am I clapping for? They're on the TV, they're not. So that would have got me, unfortunately, but that's why I can't go on this show as a traitor. If I went on this show, I would have to be a faithful, because I don't think I could actually handle like looking up. I would do a Portia misspeak. If I went on this show, I would just misspeak just like Portia and say something fucking stupid. Colton starts out the vote and he votes for Donna. Then Donna goes right after Colton. Donna votes for Michael. Okay. Eric then again votes for Donna. And Eric says, which was really interesting, "Donna, I don't even think you're a traitor necessarily, but I think this is what the faithfuls need." And I thought that was really interesting, because how are you about to fully vote someone out as a traitor and say, "I don't think you're a traitor"? Like, maybe you just can't say that at the round table. But it was a weird response from him. Obviously Michael's gonna vote Jam Jam because he's just Delulu. And basically everyone else just keeps voting Donna. Donna is overwhelmingly banished. She's banished before they even finish going around the round table. So Alan is like, "Okay, Donna, you're banished, but we still have a few people to like see what they wrote on their placards. So you guys just keep, Donna's banished, but let's see what you guys wrote." But anyway, like, we're just curious. We just want to know what you wrote on your cards. And they all wrote Donna. Big shock. So Donna goes up to the Circle of Truth. It's actually really cute. The second she opened her mouth, I was like, oh, she's gonna say she's a traitor. Like, the way she just started her speech was like, it was not like, "I'm so sad, I can't believe this hit." Like, it was, you could tell she knew the day would come. But it's so cute. She says, she's like, "It's been so much fun. I've had a great time with all you guys. And on that note, I think I'm gonna leave." And she like walks out of here. And everyone's like, "What?" And she goes, "I'm just kidding. I'm a traitor. You caught me." And everyone's like, "What?" They're like, "What?" They're like, "No way. No way. I can't believe it. We caught a traitor." And then they're also like, "Oh my god, wait, we almost caught a traitor on the first night, but because of Ron, we didn't." But I was really happy for them. And I was pretty shocked Donna was the secret traitor. I think she was on my list, but she wasn't my #1 pick for secret traitor. I actually kind of thought Michael was the secret traitor more so than her. But obviously we know it was her. And so the traitors were supposed to be reunited with the secret traitor tonight, but now that Donna's banished, it's just the three of them. I don't know if we're gonna get another secret traitor or what Alan is gonna do about that. But we get a cute little flashback of the first night where Donna says, like, she thinks she's gonna do a good job. We see Alan open the chest and she's like, "Okay, got it." She talks about how she's really excited. She mentions her strategy is kind of like, "I'm just gonna go in as like cute little America's mom and be very unsuspecting, and hopefully that'll carry me through the game." And like, that was a single bluff, right? She did a single bluff. She needed to do either a double or triple bluff, right? I mean, she had a lot of issues. She didn't tell anyone who she thought was a murderer. And she kind of was just like sweet innocent. But yeah, so Donna's gone. We get a little bit of B-roll seeing like her shortlisting the first group of people for murder, and she mentions like these are people who she thinks are kind of laying low and wouldn't get banished, which is why she wants to murder them. And again, I mean, good strategy, Donna. That is a good method. We murder people who aren't going to get banished. I think maybe that's a better strategy for the middle of the game. Like, I don't think you need to start the game off by banishing people who wouldn't get banished or murdering people who wouldn't get banished. I think that's more of a mid-end game tactic. But, you know, she tried. She did a really good job. It was cute. We do see, even though I wasn't like really the biggest fan of Donna, she did like tug on my heartstrings here when she basically starts crying and just says like, I had a lot of fun. I never thought this is something I would be able to do at my age, and like this was just like a really fun game and I had a great time, and like I'm happy I got to be a part of it. And that was really sweet. Like my heart warmed for her there, and I did actually feel really bad she got sent home. But you know, now you're gone and you had to die so that Rob, Rinna, and Candace could stay safe. You know, it's all about keeping them safe at the end of the day. We get a confessional of Rob and Rinna just saying like, oh my god, I had no idea, like I can't believe she was the secret traitor. And it would have been really fun to work with her actually. Like Rob is like, I really love her. I'm bummed we didn't get to be traitors together. And I actually, in my opinion, I think Alan kind of like messed up with this secret traitor thing, because obviously throughout all of the seasons we've seen, we do get traitor on traitor fighting. We do get traitors banishing each other, traitors drawing suspicion to other traitors. But I do think the fact that the regular traitors didn't know who the secret traitor was like really did hurt Donna, because I think especially with them saying they would have had a really fun time working with her, I think it would have been nice to know, like, if they knew who she was, they would have had some semblance of protection, right? Maybe she does the short list and they murder people, right? And they know, like, she knows who they are, they know who she is, but the only time they get to talk would be like in plain sight. I think that could be a good twist for the game. But it is hard being like a sole traitor, not having anyone to protect you. Because if she had the three, like if, and maybe Rinna, Rob, and Candace wouldn't have protected her because it was so cohesive that everyone wanted to banish her. But I do think it could have, she could have maybe lasted longer. It could have been a more interesting plot and like way of playing the game if they did get to know who she was. I think another potential option for a secret traitor setup would be, and this is kind of dumb, it definitely relies more on editing, but it would be if there was a secret traitor who met with the regular traitors in the turret, but they were just cut out of every shot, and they like had like production put something on their voice so you couldn't tell who it was. Maybe I think those are the two best options for having a secret traitor, but a secret traitor without the protection of the other fellow traitors I think is kind of useless, and we saw that. So anyway, Alan basically says it is time for the mission, so pair up with someone that you trust with your life. And everyone's like, okay, this is going to be like So, like, this is going to be about murder. This is going to be about shields, essentially. Alan also mentions one person will be not partnered up because there's an odd number of people. So everyone quickly groups up, and they leave the round table. Monet and Natalie deciding to be partners. And they have this like cute little pep talk where they're like, okay, I think we can do it. I think we can get the faithfuls. Like, it's me and you. And it's just like a really cute little friendship moment. And I love to see that. So Tiffany then decides she wants to partner up with Michael, and she says that she thinks he is a traitor, but obviously keep your enemies close. She also mentions that, like, if this challenge is about trusting someone with your life, I want to trust a big, strong man with my life. You know, because we don't know what the challenge is yet. That could be relevant. It's not, but it could be. So they arrive in the woods for the mission. And we see Alan with, okay, Johnny called them druids, so that's what I'm going to be calling them from now. They're not maroon traders, I guess. They're druids. The maroon capes, the gold mask. Apparently they're called druids. And we see that the groups of pairs are Rob and Maura, Dorinda and Renna, Tiffany and Michael, Caroline and Colton, Mark and Kristen, Eric and Johnny, Jam and Steven, Tara and Candace, Natalie and Monet, and then Ron is all by his lonesome. So after the players arrive and they walk down the aisle of the druids, there's like this circular center area with a bunch of cages. And so each partner group has to stand next to these cages. One person has to decide to get in the cage. The other person in the group will stay outside of the cage and fight for their life, fight for their players' lives, their partners' lives. And so essentially, in simplest terms, the way the game works is one person gets in a cage, the other person stays outside the cage. If you're not released from the cage in the designated time limit, then you will be shortlisted for murder. Okay? So, Ron, of course, since he doesn't have a partner, is automatically shortlisted, and I do feel a little bit bad for him. He's like, wow, I've been shortlisted for every murder so far, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I mean, I think Ron, you just probably need to make some more allies. I think you probably just need to branch out a little bit more in the group. Because without adding like friends or allies, people are going to suspect you as a traitor. And his only ally was Donna, who is gone now. So Maura goes in the cage. Rob wants to show her that he can be trusted. Good traitor strategy, because once he gets Maura, like if they get like this, they can take each other to the end. Especially if Maura plays this like Gabby Windy role. Tara mentions that she and Candace have like kind of gotten a friendship bond. They're becoming really close. She feels really connected to Candace, and so another great alliance. I also think Tara and Candace as friends could be a very good, like, Candace using Tara as a friendship trust shield could be a really good way to take her to the end, and I would like to see that. And I also, just from the one trailer we got of the entire show before it was released, one of the only confessionals we see is Tara, which is what made me actually think she was a secret traitor initially, because I'm like, who the fuck is this girl, and why does she get like one 5-second confessional in a 10-second trailer? So essentially, like, I kind of just, from what I've gathered from the trailer, the OG trailer, Tara is going to be around here for a while, and so if she is around for a while, I'm hoping that means because Candace is protecting her and she's protecting Candace. Anyway, Kristen gets in the cage, Mark stays outside, and Kristen mentions, like, could there be traitors in the cages? This is definitely something we have to look out for. Those who are not in the cages have to run into the woods and look for 10 skulls. They're like some sort of animal skull with like a horn on either side. So they have to, each partner who's not in a cage has to collect 10 of those. After they collect 10 of those, they have to stack those skulls on top of each other on a podium next to the partner's cage. If they successfully stack all 10, the cage will open and that player will be set free. Okay, so we see the players who are outside the cages start looking for all the skulls. They're like running around. It's kind of swampy. The camera cuts to Monet, like with his jacket half open, just like shoving all these skulls inside the jacket so they like stay there. It like really reminded me of like when you see little kids who are like collecting rocks or some sort of, and they like pull their shirt up and they use their shirt as a bucket. That's exactly like what it was reminding me of, and it was really funny. Also we see a quick confessional of Monet, and it's not too important. He has amazing skin in this confessional. I did not realize that until this one, but like glass skin. Anyway, you see them collecting skulls. People start stacking the skulls. I think Rob maybe starts first, maybe Colton starts first. They're the first ones to return and they start stacking. And honestly, the stacking looks pretty hard because the skulls have like these curled bone things, these curled antlers. And so it's not like a flat one tooth, like they're kind of angled like this. So some people are like stacking them all facing one way. Some are like stacking them like one's facing this way, one's facing this way. Both looked hard as fuck and they were just like falling down all over the place. This challenge looked quite difficult. And basically everyone's gone back. Everyone starts stacking up their little skulls except for Johnny. Johnny is just like still frolicking through the swamp looking for these skulls. Everyone else already found them, already got them. They're working. Johnny, you just see him like very lackadaisically just like looking, walking, very, very casual. And then we get a confessional from Johnny where he says like every challenge we've done so far has been really hard for me. He can't swim. And then he mentions pushing a chariot. I'm not a horse. And I thought that was hilarious. That took me out. I loved that little clip from him. The camera then cuts to Ron laying down like this on his side in the cage, just like casually, nonchalantly like watching and judging everyone else who's stacking. It's kind of funny. It's just like his one benefit is he doesn't have to stack this shit. However, he is shortlisted for murder, which sucks. But yeah, Ron is just like sitting there watching, judging everyone. It's really funny. And basically there's a photo finish. The clock's almost up. I think Tara makes it at like the very last second and Candace gets released from the cage. So we see that Ron, Renna, Eric, Caroline, and Kristen are all shortlisted for murder tonight. Obviously, since Rita's a traitor, she's not going to be murdered. But we have 4 people shortlisted. Lisa says, it's time to put on my acting cap. And I said, come on, Soap Sisters, bring him back. Oh, and then Alan mentions that those who are shortlisted for murder are going to be tied up to a tree in the middle of the night, basically until they get murdered. Fucking sucks. But that's why they didn't do a round table after, because they're just leaving them in the woods. After Alan's like done explaining all this, Johnny finally strolls up like, hey guys, I finally got my 10 skulls. And Alan's like, the challenge is over. And Johnny goes, well, shit. But so the safe players obviously get in the Jeeps and drive back to the castle. We see Colton in his car talking about how Tiffany and Michael were a really weird partnership. And because of that, could that be a clue that Tiffany is a traitor if she's trusting Michael? Because we obviously knew that you had to pick to partner up with someone who you did trust with your life. We see the safe players arrive back at the castle, grab some dinner, and then we cut to the library where we see some people chatting. Someone asks Tiffany if she feels like she's off Michael now, like if he's off the radar. And she basically says like, no, I'm still kind of on Michael. I still think he could be a traitor, but I think Ron is more of a traitor and Ron is basically my priority at the moment. So like, good save. I respect it. Colton then says the two murders that have occurred, Ian and Rob, don't make any sense. And Tiffany then says, she actually whispers, she says, it makes sense if you're a gamer. Okay. And then she goes, I think Jam Jam is killing them, aka Jam Jam, the one of the two. I think there's only two gamers left. I think it's really only Tiffany and Jam Jam who are the gamers left over. So basically Tiffany's saying the strategy makes sense if you are a gamer, and because of that I am suspecting Jam Jam. However, Colton then says in his confessional after this conversation, Tiffany is on his radar, and essentially says like, did she just spoil her own plan? Did she just kind of project what she's doing as a traitor on to Jam Jam? So he's kind of thinking, because you're saying it does make sense and because you're saying this is what a traitor would do, it could mean you're a traitor. He also goes back to the notion that she does like being in control. But yeah, Colton is now on Tiffany, and as we've kind of seen, Colton has a bit of a following. He definitely has trust among the other faithfuls in the house, and so it's not, I don't like that Tiffany's on his radar because I don't want her to be banished, and he does seem to have a certain amount of sway with the other faithfuls. So we hear the big clock toll with the bells, and basically it's time for bed. Everyone has to go upstairs, and we basically see the shortlisted players get tied up to the trees. They're like, please don't do we get a little bit of b-roll where they're like, please don't do this to me. You don't have to do, I think it's Ron, he's like, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do this. It actually was kind of funny. We cut to Candace and Rob in the turret. They're like, we're killing it, we're doing a great job, like high five. Then Rinna knocks on the door and she's like, ah, I'm back, guys. So they have like a cute little kiki. They're like, do little finger, they're like little fingers like that, like girl power. And then Candace says, okay, give me the details on what happened last night. I want to know who was shortlisted, and I want to know, like, how did we decide? And so basically Rob kind of says that their strategy was take out the smartest players first, take out the people who are most likely to uncover you and figure out that you're a traitor. Like, and yeah, I think great strategy. You do have to take out the smartest players first. I don't think you can take them all out consecutively the way that the Traitors have been doing. I think they should try to randomize it a little bit more, or frame the other smarter players as traitors for banishment a little bit more. But we're still early in the game, so there's a lot of choices the Traitors can still make. I think right now they're still kind of flying under the radar, so that's good. Then they're like, oh my god, wait, we also have to talk about how Donna was the secret traitor, like, oh my god. And they're like, wow, thank you, Donna, for your sacrifice. And I thought that was cute, because they would have been meeting her, but now they're not. So they're like, okay, rest in peace, Donna. And then they basically say like, okay, so who's up for murder tonight? What's the plan? We have Caroline, who is a housewife, and they mention she could potentially be a good person to kill because throughout the years, we have seen housewives are always targeted, and so it's a little bit suspicious a housewife hasn't been murdered yet. Because a housewife has not been murdered yet, would that then draw suspicion to the housewives? So, in my opinion, I really do think they should kill Caroline. But they go over the other players. They talk about how Ron makes no sense to kill, and I actually kind of disagree with that. Ron, like, they would say, like, oh, people would say it made no sense that Ron was killed. And, like, I think people would say it makes no sense that Ron was killed, but I also think people think Ron is a traitor, especially a traitor who survived being put up for murder twice. I think they should definitely keep him around because he's more of a he's someone they can set up as a traitor, and so I think they can use Ron as a cover. I really hope they don't murder Ron because of that. They talk about Eric. They say he couldn't, basically if they killed Eric, it couldn't be traced back to any of them, and like traitors say that all the time. I think like it's a random kill, like, and I don't think too many people in the group would be devastated if Eric left. So yeah, to that regard, it's like, it's just a random kill. It confuses the faithfuls. Then they mention Kristen being very smart and being a potential threat to the traitors. So maybe they want to kill her off because she is smart. I personally think they need to pause with the smart people. They need to go for, they need to distract somewhere else and then keep going for the smart people, but you can't make it clear to the faithfuls your strategy is to get rid of the smart people. Like, that's not gonna work. So we then see the traitors in the woods. We see the 4 players shortlisted for murder tied up to their trees, and we kind of get this scene where each player basically gets to beg for their life to the traitors. They're tied up, they have an eye mask on, but they can hear the traitors approach them, and so they basically all get to, you know, they get to have some last words. Ron's like, if you don't kill me, I'm coming for you. Kristen's like, you already made up your mind. I don't remember what the other two said, but basically the episode ends there. We don't know who's killed. We will find out next episode. I'm so excited to be getting my predictions now. We couldn't do it for the first 3 episodes because obviously Peacock releases all 3 at once. So I'm excited. I'm gonna give you guys some predictions. Let's see if I'm right. I hope I am. Anyway, so who will be murdered? Who will be banished? I think, let's start with murder. I really would prefer Caroline being murdered. I really would, because again, I think you just need to, if all the gamers have been killed, aside from 2, none of the housewives have been killed yet. Well, Portia's been banished, but none of the housewives have been actually killed. And so it is a little bit suspicious that we have 4 whole housewives and none of them have gotten murdered yet. On the sheer fact of that, just by the numbers, on optics, like, I think the way it presents to the rest of the group, Caroline needs to die. And I'm not even a big fan of her. She's got like a cute accent, but she's really just like there doing nothing. So I think she could leave. I hope she leaves. I hope she's murdered. I have a funny feeling they're gonna kill Kristen, and I really don't want them to, because I do think it makes them look bad if they are only killing smart people. It kind of pigeonholes who the potential traitors could be, right? Okay, now, who will be banished? This is a tough one. Who do I want to be banished? Michael. I want him gone. Get him out of here. Get him out of the castle. I want him out of Scotland. However, in the preview for next week, we do see 2 important things. We see Lisa in a confessional say, I'm really mad that my name has even been brought up. And then we see a quick clip of tomorrow's roundtable of Tiffany kind of fighting for her life. So it's obvious both Tiffany and Rinna's name will be brought up. I don't think there's too much of a case for Rinna at this moment, so I think she's safe. I do fear Colton will rally the troops for Tiffany. However, I really don't want them to banish her. she's just getting started. I'm actually a really big fan of her. I am not familiar with her until she came on this show. But yeah, I'm really liking her. I'm liking her personality. I think she's fun. I think she's smart, and I like to see her thoughts behind like her strategy. So yes, I really do not want her to be banished next episode, although I do fear that's a possibility. I think it's also possible Ron and Michael get banished. Probably. If Ron survives the murder, I think Ron could get banished. If Ron doesn't survive the murder, I think Michael's getting banished. But I don't think Ron will be murdered. I pray he won't be murdered, because that's a bad look for the Traitors, you guys. But yeah, that's the episode. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe if you want to. Love you all so much. Bye.